Emerging out of the Baroque period of the late 17th century and early 18th century is the Rococo period, which is a further refinement of the brocade and the swirls and detail of the Baroque. And what we do is we explode it with color. We go to the last final development where it's all frippery and flounce and just unnecessary twists, turns, and detail, as this Baroque architecture, this Rococo architecture shows you right here. It's just like the multitude of colors and detail is exhausting to look at just for this front porch. In outfits, what happens in the Rococo period, because everything seems looser, it's not as formalized and not as strict as the Baroque, we have a period where necklines plunge, outfits become looser around the shape of the woman. So the woman is defined as a figure, but what happens is she's also seen as a figure almost ready to slip out of her garment into something else. So a lot of it looks like undergarments that we exploit nowadays. Now in our if you do our postmodern Rococo, you've got the high hair and you've got the undergarment corset look, which is used a lot because everything else is more restrictive. So like the garment on your left, it's all very loose, everything looking loose. It's like the formalized thing, but everything's ready to be played with, slipped off, showing the kind of a decadent period of the height of the Louis the 14th, 15th time before the Revolution. And so here we have a compromise. We have the Baroque, outfit on both sides, but what happens is the brocade looks a little less defined and the dress a lot less loose, or a lot more loose. Here's a wonderful Rococo example of architecture. Just compare this to the Baroque, where the Baroque had those lines and those kind of interlocking details. But look here, look at now. It's now needlepoint. Everything becomes very tiny, refined, entangled. This is the Rococo, where everything is just really swirled together to the point where you can't get as busy. And from this you have to change. And so the outfits we have. Have the figure, but they have the flow. That's what they're adding here. And this is your Rococo kind of painting, where everything is this woman is surrounded by fabric, but everything is loose and deshabille, and we're just swimming in luxury, but we don't care about it. We don't prize it as much as we play with it. So it's a very playful look. And with the playful look, we have a lot of flounce and excess, but it seems like it's easily gotten rid of here. So here's a perfect leisurely flounce. This is not somebody who's very aristocratic and formal. This is laid back and easygoing. So the drop dress we talked about at the end of the Baroque period, the drop back dresses become just huge, just pyramids of excess cloth. There's nothing to define shape. It's easily flowing. So we have the Watteau paintings. Everybody looks in their clothes. The clothes almost sweep in with the natural surroundings in the background. Everything is very filmy in the look and the feel of the period. And this contrasts with the regal, operatic going out for events, the very gown-like stylistic events, combined with that flowing look. And what we do is we have wigs to give it the formal look to the head, but we have the explosion of loose skirts for to contrast. And so here we have at the end of the Baroque period, we have your Mantua hips, we have the frock coat, and the men looking loose. Look how the men, their garments aren't as tight anymore, and so we merge into the period of masks and Carnival. What happens as the flip side of Catholicism is that festival of Carnival before Lent, and so it's like before the Revolution, everybody is disguising themselves in a way to be sexually attractive and also to be looser in their morals. And so we have that disguised masquerade look, which you see here in this operatic cathedral of art. And so for this type of look, everything is a mask, everything is a theatrical disguise. And so even the eye line, the hair going up, it's all a costume. And when we have Amadeus, which the movie covering Mozart in that period of the late 18th century, we use this to a great effect because of the dark side of that story. But we have the tri-cornered hat, dark outfits. But what's happening here in that Rococo thing is that men's clothing is becoming different garments that are very, it's not just one flowing garment. It's very separate now. Separate garments making up the outfit. But here we have an Amadeus look and that dark cloak versus the frock coat, very much that period. And this is the same Mozartian period where we have the high pompadour, gassed up hair, and we have the outfits with masks. So this is the masquerade meets the loose dresses, the exaggerated hair, decadence before the revolution. Very clear, and it's a modern version, everybody going out. They always, ever since then, that mask look has always been sexually titillating and wonderful for parties and carnivals and whatever movie we want to create. If we want that aspect of danger and decadence, we always go for this combination look here, where we have this postmodern look where we look like we're from that period, but we've stripped everything down to its essence. And now maybe only the mask and the lace remain. And for the lower classes, they also ape the upper class in the sense of the loose gathering. There's nothing tight here. There's some shape, but the looseness is returning to the garments. It's the drape. You can see the drapes coming back here. We have, the shoes and the puff slips and everything, but the looseness is in the petticoats. It's like, we forget about the outer garment. Let's just go to the petticoat and the corset in that. And this is that same period where the world is framed by fabric. Anytime you're looking through a window, it's got fabric around it. And we get into the Revolutionary War period in our own time, and it's the frock swallowtail coat, the tight breeches, very practical. It's now Ben Franklin and the gang here in the Constitution, and just like the houses, very what we call neoclassical, where everything's balanced. You got the Corinthian pillars and the little cupola and everything. Everything's balanced and Spartan, just like the clothing, very much part of utilitarian. We got the hat, the coat, the pants, the version of the modern suit. And with the revolution in that period, we have what we call the neoclassical look, because everybody wanted to go back to that empire look where great deeds were done. They felt they were in a very historic time. So we have dresses that are very much like the Greek dresses that fit perfectly into this regal atmosphere, neoclassical drapery and pedestal-like statuesque forms. Here we see the bodice goes up with the flowing garment. This is called the empire dress. Right after the neoclassical look, we have the empire dress. It keeps the flow, but adds a little bodice, a little neckline, and we merge into the Regency look after that, with the Restoration after the Napoleonic Wars. And we have that Jane Austen look, which has that tight bodice, flat bosom, straight lines in the neoclassical look. Just like the houses, very straight-laced, very square, triangular, square, very geometric. And here, nice juxtaposition against a statue, but here she is. It's just very dropped, straight. It's simple, classical, very little waist, just like this federal house here. And very different from the period that is imagined in art here, where the decadence with the fall of the Roman Empire. This is after the empire. And so what we have here, talk about how costumes determine nudity and the shape of the body. Here we have Goya. Goya is painting this woman, but what he's doing is he wants the woman to fill the outfit. This is a very empire outfit, high, tight waist and loose pantaloons. So as a nude object, she is portrayed naked as she would fit the dress rather than vice versa. So she looks a little weird naked just because she fits the costume better. And so here we have the late Regency period, and little modest neckline, hair tight, little flare on the shoulders. And if you want to add anything, you add fur to the shoulders here in Helen Mirren and Cousin Bet, giving a little modernistic feel. And here's the lower class here. You can see she's got still a lot of cloth. Everybody's flared out here, but it's still loose. As we go into the mid-19th century, we add garments to the bustle, the back of the dress, because crinoline had been developed, and that meant we could lift our fabric a lot easier than we used to. And so we had another way of displaying silks and dresses, but very much like the houses too. The bustle in layers, just like this house with the turrets and the gables and layers mid 19th century. But the bustles increased to give more flounce, more exaggeration to the rear, and giving you more of an S shape. But this is a period mid 19th century where you had little extra fabric back there for the bustle to lift up your silks and taffetas with the crinoline undergarment. And just like this house here, just a little mid 19th century look. The bustle's layered, the little train. This one looks almost like this house practically. And then, of course, to the present day, when we have weddings, we still have bustles and trains as a reflection of that period. Here we have just like this house has a little bustle to it in the bottom section. And so as we get to the mid 19th century, the bustles become more elaborate to the point where they're going to be, phased out, so they get a little tighter in the postmodern period. So now we have bustles. We do it with a little sexier mini skirt and flare it out and get it shorter. And finally, it becomes very dramatic, actually, if you want that steampunk look, and if you want the basically the brothel steampunk look, you can still have a little bustle here, little fabric there, the shoes matching in that kind of bustle brocade, and finally, your fanny pack can be a faux bustle if you really want to get down to it.